Oh, welcome back, everyone. It's just time for another update. It's been about a week or so. So I've had a couple of appointments over the last couple of days at Royal Perth. One to see the the spine specialist. So they took an X-ray, and I got to have a bit of a look at that and a bit of a discussion with the spinal surgeon, who was one of the. I haven't really been dealing with this one as much, but he was one of the two spinal surgeons that were working on me back then over a year ago on the 2nd of March when they first flew me into hospital. So he knows me. He knows me pretty well. As always, I'll just start off, do a bit of a walk around. Once again, I believe I've had, things are really coming together for me. It may not look it, but I can definitely feel it themselves. So I will just do a bit of a walk around again, so you can see, and hopefully you can see a difference. But I'm definitely starting to feel it. And then we will then I'll carry on and have a bit of a chat about what the spinal surgeon and I spoke about. So yeah, all in all, I'm feeling so much stronger. I can stand a lot longer. Like it used to be, and I'm not joking. You stand up to make a cup of coffee, and by the time you got the coffee grinder thinking to get your thing full of coffee grounds, I had to lean on the bench and kept put some of my weight on the bench because my support muscles all around here and my legs were too weak, and I couldn't even stand up to make a cup of coffee. So I've come a long way. Once again, I'll just put the earphones in so I can hear what I'm saying. But yeah, so on Monday, I went into Royal Perth and spoke to the spinal surgeon. He took an X-ray, and I got to have a look at how things were. He was really happy. All the rods and everything that were put in 9 weeks ago or 10 weeks ago now, I guess, they all looked good. And I did get to clarify a little bit on where they put the bone grafts, because once again, I say information is relatively hard to come by. And just as a brief to you guys as well, I know how I said earlier, it just sort of looked like they had packed the back of my spine with the bone graft, which was sort of right. But what he actually said, what he showed me was, you've got a side view. Well, sorry, you've got looking at the back view of your spine, and you've got your two pelvic wings. And he said, like, in that gap between the pelvic wings and the spine, where the rods are, they've sort of packed bone in there. So the 3 or 4 vertebrae that the rods are also supporting, we've grafted onto the side of that and come right down in between the spine and the pelvic wing. So it's like a web on each side. But what was really exciting for me was, then it was more a tone that he said it, because I said, look, I want to do this right. I want to make sure I get back up and running, and like, there's only so many times you're going to be prepared to cut me open to do this, before you sort of not write me off as a lost cause. But hey, look, we've done all we can do, and we can't just endlessly do this. But anyway, the way he said it, he said, look, when you or after the 6 months, he said, well, we'll do another checkup in another couple of months. Then in the 6-month mark, we'll do the full MRIs to really see how we're going. But like, assuming, and I have no reason to believe it won't, the bone will graft. The way he worded it was like, in all fairness, my spine and my pelvis will be stronger than like a normal person, like stronger than what it was. And then I've also got the rods there supporting it as well. So, like, he wasn't sort of chuckling as a bit of a joke, because I said I want to, make sure I'm sort of strong before I start loading up from physio, because I'm still not supposed to be doing physio yet. But it was just the way he said it, and he said, like, 6-month mark, if that thing takes and you haven't had a stack or a major incident, which I haven't, and that's what I'm being careful to avoid, then he goes, look, you're going to be fine. Like, you're not going to have any dramas of strength whatsoever, which was really what I was looking for, because otherwise I think I was staring down the barrel of, like having to treat my body like I was 80 years old, and if I stack it, then well, I could do some serious damage. So to hear that, that was really good. That I'm going to be potentially even stronger than what I was before. So yeah, that sort of put a smile on my face. It was better than having the bad news of a few months ago when they told me that I had broken a rod. But all in all, travel-wise, I feel so much better, and I feel like, and it's not just that; it's the rate of improvement. I'm feeling almost every 3 or 4 days that I'm getting stronger. I can actually feel that within myself. Um, Obviously, I did go. The second appointment was with the orthotics department, so they're playing around with shoes and bits and pieces. But the great news I found was Bruce Lee, the famous martial arts dude. He actually, I found out that read that he actually had one leg. His right leg was 25 mil longer than his left, and mine currently is 20. So it's like, well, and that to me just told me, oh, clearly, a discrepancy in leg length doesn't isn't the be all and end all of mobility, as he obviously showed. So I was glad to hear about that, and it's just another thing that tells me that I'll be able to overcome this, and I may actually surprise myself as to how much how close I can get back to how I was. And also with the orthotics, because they went through a whole bunch of tests for they do you test your leg strength and all that sort of stuff, and the muscles on all sides, what you can push, pull, and just so they know how. There's so much that they can do with footwear and whatnot. But what they did, they checked my foot and my left foot. Normally I can't. I still can't. My left foot, if I try and lay that on the floor and just lift my toes up or lift my foot up at the ankle, it won't do it. It was about 6-9 months ago. The physios did say they could feel something firing, but it wasn't a great deal. But yeah, they reiterated again that they could actually feel a bit of resistance. So maybe it is actually starting to come back, which would be really good. But we'll take each day as it comes. And at the moment, like I say, still focusing on that core strength, because as the physio said, look, that the hip and the knee will actually substitute a fair bit, so you'll be able to get away with just wearing one of these orthotic things for the feet. But balance-wise, like your hip and your knee, once you've got strength there, that'll actually substitute a fair bit for that foot not being able to move. So either way, we're working around it to make it better. Well, another thing that I'd like to say, I have watched a few YouTube videos in the past of, like, if anyone else is going through a similar sort of deal with me, and it's like, I'm not gonna bag it, because it's like, it's good positive reinforcement. But quite a few of them, they actually say, oh, he's done a strict regime. This is how well he's doing. He's got a strict regime of 6 hours a day physio, and it's like, the drive and determination is awesome. And it's like, if anybody else is going through this sort of thing, or an accident like I am, like, my experience was like 6 hours of physio a day. Like, I mean, credit to them if it's right, but like early on, it's like 6 minutes would be enough for me. I could destroy my muscles and be sore and have to lie down for a couch and recover for 3 hours after 6 minutes of physio or exercise. So if you're wondering, if you are listening to some of those and you go, oh gee, I can't do that. I can't do 6 hours. No wonder he's doing so well. And I can only do this. It's like, don't lose heart, because that's exactly where I was at. 6 minutes, that was it. As I say, making coffee. By the time you could grind it into the handle, my whole backside and legs were just shot. I had to lean on the counter. No, that's how weak my legs were, and how far I've had to come back from. So yeah, don't get disheartened. Just keep going, keep trying, and you'll make it. And obviously another, well, not obviously, but another a big help is animals. We've got our little miniature Dachshund Peanut. I'm probably the least favourite of his. When the girls come and see, he's Summer's little pup. But I must admit, there's been a bit of a request to see him. he's actually travelled off down to Bunbury for a couple of days. But he'll be back. But maybe next video I'll have him up and I'll introduce him to you. But yeah, he's a great little dachshund. But that's actually quite therapeutic as well, as I'm sure most people realise. Just having something else to focus on, I guess. And they're not judgmental. And in fact, when he actually first saw me stand up, because we've had him, he's about 10 months old now. And when we got him, I was basically just lying on the couch and in the chair. I couldn't really move very much. And anyway, the first time he saw me actually standing up, he was just going off. He was just barking at me. He's like, "Who's this?" Like, he had no idea. It was just something totally foreign to him. But point being is that like, he was quite content and happy with who I was, and that's who he knew me as the person that lied on, that was on the couch or in the chair. So to see me standing up was quite foreign to him. But anyway, hopefully I can bring him on next time, and I'll introduce him to you so you can see him. But he's a cool little dude. All right, that's an update from me for the last week. So yeah, I'm quite chirpy, pretty happy about everything, and I'm happy with how things are progressing. I've got physio. I'll be able to start physio officially after about 3 months, which is about the beginning of September. And then once I can start physio, that'll be the sign for me to say, okay, let's start really loading things up a bit once they're content. Because at the moment, all the grafting, nothing's happened, and I've never hurt myself to suggest anything's moved. So between that news with the spinal surgeon and how I'm feeling, I think things are tracking pretty well. But I just have to be careful not to overdo it as you start feeling better, as I've been warned by a few people. Because it's easy done, all of a sudden, you're feeling good, and it's, oh, let's go. And then it's like, you do some damage, and it's like, oh, you're 10 steps back. So want to do it right, be careful, and I'll get there in the end. All right, everyone, thanks very much for tuning in, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. I'll bring Peanut on the next one and introduce him. Final word, I'd like to shout out to Colette. It's been requested that she gets mentioned. She's a friend of ours who helps me out immensely travelling to and from these appointments without her obviously having a young family and with Kate busy running around. It's very hard to actually it would be impossible for her to be able to cover all my appointments. So Colette has kindly, she's been running around to these doctor's appointments and up and down to Perth and whatnot, and that's a great help. So yeah, super Colette, big shout out to you, and thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. All right, everyone. Thanks very much for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers.